Me, I'm a pro. I'm a pro. I'm so good. We're so good. Hello. That was just for Twitch chat, apparently. Hello, everybody. Crystal Hazer, thank you for subscribing with Prime. Hello, Vox Boxman. Hello, Minty Treasure. Hello, Bisbee. Hello, Jenny. Hello, The Last Homely House. Hello, Feistiest Bard. Hello, Webmage 101. Hello, everybody. We are so back. Hello. Hello, not a loser. YouTube stream not working. It should be working now. Hello. Hello. I hope you're feeling better. I am feeling a lot better physically. My voice is not yet at 100%, which you may or may not be able to hear. But I think I'm going to keep tonight's stream relatively short. This is just kind of a test. We're testing it out, seeing how it goes, seeing how my voice works out. ASMR stream? I mean, if you find this to be ASMR, I guess. But there have been I would have streamed the last few days, but I haven't been able to talk. It's a pretty big thing to not be able to talk when you're a streamer, and it's been genuinely bumming me out. I cannot report back on asking Becerra questions because he canceled on us the day of like a coward. I'm sorry, Mr. Malachite. Streaming Morse code. I thought you wouldn't stream tonight even. I really wanted to try just to give it a shot because I've physically I'm feeling a lot better. But even as I'm sitting here to talk to you guys, I can feel like a strain on my throat. Not in a sexy way. Hello, everybody. Hello, Lady Raincloud. Hello, hello, hello. I'm sounding a bit husky. I like it. I like sounding husky. But also streamers gotta yep. It's an important part of engaging content for sure. As you can see, I'm still a little congested. Stop the stupidity. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Very much appreciated. Also, want to shout out Max Danger. Thank you for the gifted membership a while back, too. Tim Pool Sentient Beanie. I love it. What a name. What a goddamn name. Also, things happened. Things happened over the weekend, and I feel like we gotta talk about them, it's just important that we have these conversations, and I feel like by not talking about them, I'm leaving you guys in the lurch. Pork Chop Express, congrats on joining DSA. You should consider joining the Shimp chat as well, put together by Gamergy. Reach out to her. She'll get you sorted. Let's go. Yeah, remember, don't Fed post. That's true. Very good rule. Very good rule. How long is short stream? Like 2 hours? Yeah, 2 hours is kind of my goal. Maybe shorter if my voice is hurting, or I can tell it's degraded. Again, think of this more as like a test stream of a kind, Oh, I will say, while I was sick, I watched the show Murderbot. Very good show. I think a lot of you neurodivergent types would really like it. It's good stuff. You look fab today. Thank you. Today was my first day going out of the house to do a thing that wasn't absolutely required. So I got to go on a little walk. It was really nice. Oh, I will be a Salmon Moose. I wanted to finish Metaphor Refantasio first because I'd gotten so close to the end and I just hadn't actually finished it, so I did that. That was the other thing that I did. Did I have a good time? I was really sick. So, yes, but also very sick. Here. I did watch this show though, and it was great. It was fucking rad.
I am a security unit, or sec unit. I was built to protect and obey humans, and humans are idiots. But now that I've hacked my programming, I can do whatever I want, as long as they don't find out.
Now, let's talk security. We need you to select a sec unit to take on the mission. This is the newest model available.
What's the one behind it?
That's a refurbished model.
Oh, look at that piece of crap. Oh, wait, that's me.
Which one's the least expensive? That one, but you get what you pay for.
True.
Wouldn't be so creepy if it didn't stand so still. Shh, you can hear us. We can't.
I could. I just didn't care. I was watching the entertainment channels on the company's satellites. I had watched 7,532 hours of content. Shows like The Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon.
Did you sleep with that bot? Stars, Captain.
Oh, what now? Run! Stay calm. It'll be okay.
I didn't know that's a face.
Yeah, it's kind of a sweet face.
Stop staring at me.
I wasn't. Stop staring at me.
I have been noticing some anomalies with the sec unit.
Uh-oh.
And when I plugged into its system, the unit was already rogue.
It calls itself Murderbot.
House private. It's a killing machine.
Murderbot?
Can you stop calling it Murderbot? It's terrifying.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it calls itself, so I am just being respectful.
Do you think we can trust it?
It seems like it's going through something.
Eye contact.
What the hell? You could have killed me.
There was a chance, yes. But everything turned out fine.
I just have to say, you know, it's basically what if you know a grunt that works 9 to 5 had
I swear
autism.
You watch this for the first 30 seconds, it will instantly improve your day. I am laughing so hard.
And it's fucking cool as fuck. It's so good. Just fuck. I felt very seen by this show. I felt very seen as a like in the writing. All right, Nathan, what is this? Okay, look. I saw this the other day. I screenshotted this video. This very video that has a fucking thumbnail for the food attacks.
Good morning, class. Who's ready for a pop quiz? Okay, that's the spirit. Can anyone tell me what FUTA is? It stands for Federal Unemployment Tax Act.
That's exactly what it stands for.
Now, FUTA, along with state unemployment systems, provide for payments of unemployment compensation to workers who have lost their jobs. And if you're looking to become a business owner after passing this class, take note. As an employer,
I do want to stress this is not a joke video. I'm pretty sure this is just straight up this poor man had no idea what he was signing up for on the internet.
You are responsible for paying food tax. It isn't withheld from the employee's wages, and most employers pay both state and federal unemployment taxes. Now, are there any guidelines? I hear you ask. Of course. We've got to have some guidelines, such as...
Yeah, you have to have guidelines for the food tax. I mean, things could go terribly wrong without them.
Which employers are responsible for paying this tax? In general...
Oh, we know which kind. We know which kind are required to pay the food tax. They're called chasers.
If you pay your employees more than $1,500 in a calendar quarter, and you had employees for some part of a day in each of 20 weeks for this year or last year, you'll be subject to food tax. That is basically everyone who has an employee.
I mean, everyone who has an employee, they just can't get enough of the FUTA. You know, of course they have to pay the tax at the end of the year. You know, everyone with an employee very into this.
Now, figuring food tax can be a little tricky, but I'll do my best to explain it. If you still have questions afterwards, ask them in the comments section, starting with the phrase "food question," and I'll be sure to stick around after class to answer it. Now, in 2021, the food tax rate was 6%.
Anyone got a food question? There's no fucking way.
This tax applies to the first $7,000 you pay to each employee as wages during the year. That $7,000 is called the federal wage base. Your state wage base may be different. Generally, you can take a credit against your food tax for the amounts you paid into the state unemployment funds. The credit may be as much as 5.4% of the...
Look, you can ask the hard FUTA questions to this guy, okay? Look at him. He clearly has many employees. He knows his way around a business. So he knows the FUTA tax. Ask him your hardest questions.
FUTA's taxable wages. If you're entitled to the maximum 5...
You know, really, the FUTA out there have just not been taxed enough. Really. With this tax alone, we might be able to solve, you know, wealth inequality in this country.
0.4% credit. The FUTA tax rate after the credit is 0.6%. Now, you're entitled to the maximum credit if you paid your state unemployment taxes in full.
The federal wage base, the FWB, the FUTA FWB. Oh, that so many people are into that.
On time and on all the same wages that are subject to FUTA tax.
This is called being a good girl. You know, when you pay the FUTA tax in full, on time, for all the same wages, that's called being a good girl.
Now, here comes the fun part. Depositing FUTA tax.
They make a killing at the sperm bank, okay? What can I say? What can I say?
For deposit purposes, calculate FUTA tax quarterly. Determine your FUTA tax liability by multiplying the amount of taxable wages.
Yeah, look, if you try and let it all accumulate to the end of the year, you're gonna have too much FUTA tax to pay. It's gonna be way too much to deposit anywhere. It's gonna be just an absolute mess.
Paid during the quarter by 0.6%. Stop depositing FUTA tax on an employer's wages when he or she reaches $7,000 in taxable wages for the calendar year. Finally, when you're reporting FUTA tax, you're going to use a Form 940. And file that Form 940 by January 31st of the year following your payroll calendar year. So, for 2021 payroll, the Form 940 must be filed by January 31st, 2022. You can also file this form electronically using a Form 940 e-file.
What an incredibly informative video.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about FUTA tax or the payroll process in general, please visit our website, getpayroll.com. And we'll see you for the next lesson. Thanks for listening.
And remember, you can always comment on the video. FUTA question. I can't. I can't. Jared9284 writes, I'm an employer. My rear end hurts after any tax, but especially FUTA tax. Hey. FUTA tax versus FUTA inflation. Indeed, indeed. God. The fact that this is an actual video and no one who made it thought anything about it is the funniest part about it for me. Okay? God, I'm dying. I'm dying. I didn't think the actual video would be as funny as the thumbnail, which again is just that guy standing in front of a giant chalkboard that says the FUTA tax. Oh yeah, no, that wasn't a joke. None of that was an intentional joke by this company or by that man. That was all him. That was all, honestly, it wasn't even him. That was all on us. We projected something just so smutty and unspeakable onto that poor man's basic attempt to be helpful at how to pay your payroll tax. Like, that's on us. We ruined his work with our smutty minds, our worldly purviews. Guy didn't sign up to become an internet legend. You know, the foremost expert on the FUTA tax. The one you can ask all of your hard FUTA questions to. But you know, some people, they're not born heroes, but they become heroes. And sometimes those heroes have to pull massive, engorged blades out in order to do battle against the tides of misinformation. So for that, we salute Get Payroll President Charles Reed. He's the president of the company. Oh, wow. Well done, sir. Well done indeed. We salute President of Get Payroll, Charles Reed. May you live many more years to come, sir. Guy just wanted to teach us, but our porn brains ruined it. God. All right. I don't even know if that is a segment, but you know what? It could be. So I'm gonna mark it. We did a segment, everybody. Look at us. Get organized with your local Dems. Get organized with your local DSA. And guys, if you need help, talk to us. Okay, join our Discord. !Discord in any of the chats. And also, go check out ImageneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Which, you know what? Might be pretty relevant to this video. So check out ImageneOlivia.com. It's non-tucking lingerie. And if you know what that means, and you've been dissatisfied with your lingerie, you know how to fix that problem. Check out ImageneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going. Remember to pay your food tax on time. God. Fuck, that's funny. All right. Also, you want to know what else is funny? I'm thinking about doing a longer video about this, but David Cross went on Bill Maher's show, and honestly, there are just so many good exchanges between them. Like, David Cross defends trans kids, and it's heartwarming. It's great. Maybe I'll do a longer form segment on that. But I did want to just highlight this part just for the humor value.
People sometimes want to say cancel. Oh, people aren't canceled because they're still doing this or that. There are different gradations of it. There's soft canceling. I would say I've had some of that happen to me.
Like what?
Soft canceling would be like, we will never give you an Emmy, even though plainly I deserved them.
No, Bill.
And, no? You don't think I've ever... You don't think my show...
I don't know what the categories of the context or any of that.
You don't watch that shit? People sometimes...
Sadly, nothing funny or smart to say, but here nevertheless.
Mithril, thank you for being a member. Very much appreciated. Honestly, David Cross looking incredulously at Bill Maher saying that he thinks he deserves an Emmy is one of the funniest bits I've ever seen him do. It's so fucking funny. What show is this from? It's from Bill Maher's podcast, Club Random. It's so fucking funny. Oh, I know I've been canceled because I haven't been given an Emmy. Fuck you, dude. And also, go fuck the horse you rode in on. Like, my God. Did he intend that to be funny? No! Bill Maher is just not a funny guy. And if he did intend it to be funny, he didn't deliver it in a way that made it clear he was joking. He's just a smarmy asshole. I thought Bill Maher's podcast got canceled a few months ago. Nah, still going. Isn't Bill Maher a bit old to be doing the lol so random bit? I mean, I don't know if he even named his own show, to be completely honest with you. It sounds like a podcast put together by a bunch of like preteen girls. If I'm being completely honest with you, it sounds like a podcast put together by, you know, a group of girls in middle school who are going to be best friends forever until that bitch Janine comes around with her new boyfriend Todd and breaks apart the entire group. Like, specifically early 2000s preteen girls, yeah. But yes, if it seems like Bill Maher is too old for it, well, Bill Maher doesn't think he's too old for anything, and that's maybe a problem. Not Janine? Yeah, that bitch Janine. Oh, God. Does Bill Maher even make jokes anymore? I've seen him try to make jokes and they never go over well. Who watches Bill Maher anymore? Like genuinely, I don't know who the audience for Bill Maher is, but like, I just think it's, yeah, we're gonna watch it one more time just because I want to.
Want to say cancel. Oh, people aren't canceled because they're still doing this or that. There are different gradations of it. There's soft cancel.
You know what's crazy to me? Bill Maher is arguing about the cancellation spectrum, but can't imagine genders on a spectrum. You know, he insists being canceled is an incredibly nuanced and complicated topic, but not gender. Gender couldn't possibly be complicated. It's just it's cancellation. There's a lot of nuance to the spectrum of cancellation. God, I fucking hate this creep.
I would say I've had some of that happen to me.
Like what?
Soft canceling would be like, we will never give you an Emmy, even though plainly I deserved them.
No.
Look at his face. Look at, he's just, honestly, this is pity. This is some fucking pity right here. Like, oh my god.
Bill.
And no, you don't think I've ever, you don't think my show is...
I don't know what the categories or the context or any of that.
You don't watch that shit?
Also, this is very clearly David Cross doing his best to not just, like, tell Bill Maher directly, like, no, you don't deserve an Emmy, you dipshit. Like, he's just like, I don't know the context. Like, he's trying to salvage the situation from that awkward silence. It's so fucking funny. Yeah, K-Fox, that clip also came to mind.
Hey, friend in high places, my new favorite podcast with Matt. But it's always good to be like the baby of the family because you get...
Yeah, I have a little cousin. He's 4.
Yeah, but that's a cousin.
Yeah, and like literally every time he comes...
Watching him interact with children is like... It's really creepy. It's really fucking creepy. He cannot be normal about kids. Let me see. I find this here.
Gosh, Bill Maher is so women-coded. Real men always cancel hard, and now you too can cancel hard with these handy supplements.
Yeah. Look, this is from a year ago. This isn't even from that long ago.
Wikipedia goes from one side to the next. What if it leads you to some place where you don't think you should probably be? Because I hear from parents, not that I'm one, but I hear they're very worried about what their kids are seeing on the internet.
I don't think I go on bad websites or anything.
But you could, right?
Yeah, if it takes me to one, I just exit it because there's nothing that...
Well, I mean, say you're interested in, like, climate change. So you start looking on that. That's a big issue. I mean, your kids are worried about it for a good reason. Okay, climate. It leads you to weather. Then you're looking up stuff about the weather. Then it leads you to Stormy Daniels. All right, now you're into porn. Now you're into a porn site. What do?
I exit it.
There you go. You hear that?
Like, why are you asking these tiny children? Why, like, you already made it clear what you're talking about with, like, your Wikipedia example. Why are you making another example to prolong this conversation about porn? It's weird and gross.
Paige?
Yeah.
If that happens to you, you're going to do the same thing?
Yeah, I would like go where all the tabs are open and I would just close it like a bunch of times.
Right?
Sometimes it might still show up each other, so I keep doing it until until the tab closes.
Yeah, I think when you're 10, you got to erase your browser history, if you know what I'm saying. You know what?
WTF, man. There, kids, this is disgusting.
Like, there are ways to have discussions with, like, I don't know, like if you are talking to your nephew or niece or to your kids, there are ways to have discussions about this in a way that's like productive and helpful to them. But like Bill Maher is doing this in like a deeply, deeply creepy way. And like, I think we can just stop there. Like, unfortunately, this keeps going for a while. And I mean, I gotta be honest. Like, the comments on this one, I have a feeling this is how Bill talks to his 20-year-old dates, too. This segment was a fun idea, but after watching it, all I've been thinking about is that Bill needs to stay the hell away from kids. You look older than 8. For fuck's sake, calm down, Bill. Like, it's creepy and gross. Yeah, parents, guardians, you know, mentors, etc. Like, that's a conversation for that, you know? Like, who brings their kids to this show? For Bill Maher to talk to them like that. Like, he's a creepy old dude. And, you know what? Since we're talking about him anyway, let's see if I can bring up the, David Cross, trans clip. Let's see here.
Breaking news.
No, not. I don't want to hear you yet. Here we go. Oh, did they not? Did they? Okay, it looks like they didn't actually label it, which is odd in a show that labels all the things. Let's see here. Here we go.
Yes, but I'm.
All right.
I'll define it. The bubble is not for me or my wife; it's for our daughter.
Yeah. Okay.
And the more I can keep her from the things that I and my wife think are bad.
Just to play devil's advocate about what might be in the bubble that isn't favorable to you. A Democratic congressman, I've had him on the show, I like him a lot, Seth Moulton from Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
He got a lot of attention at the end of the last election cycle because he was talking about the Democrats and they got their ass kicked in the election and so forth. And he said, they were talking about the trans issue, and he said, look, I don't want my 12-year-old daughter to be on the soccer field and be run over by someone who's identifying as a man, as a woman, but is really a boy.
That is not what he said. He said he didn't. He specifically said trans women or trans girls rather, are actually boys. Like, it was just transphobia. It's just the same gutter transphobia we've heard over and over again, which is part of this narrative that even the New York Times admits has no evidence going for it, which is that, oh, trans people somehow lost Kamala Harris the election. You know, the election that she didn't mention the word transgender once during. She didn't bother defending trans people, but she also, like, she didn't attack trans people either directly. But that silence, I've argued, left a ideological real estate, blank, undeveloped, etc., that leaves room for Donald Trump's and his team to move in and fill with nonsense lies. Like, the argument here from folks like Seth Moulton has been like, well, you know, wokeness lost the election. We need to appeal to more conservatives. And it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. There's no evidence for it whatsoever. It, like, trans people aren't even in like the top 10 of issues facing the country, even among conservatives. It is absolutely bullshit. But anyway, Bill Maher really wants to take this narrative and run with it, and I want to really reiterate, literally no data backs up the idea that, like, trans kids or trans people in general lost Kamala Harris the election.
I don't want my daughter being run over. And a lot of people applauded him for that. I mean, we saw in the Olympics born a man, now fighting as a woman, boxer, just beat the dog shit out of a woman.
This is also a lie. Imane Khalif is intersex, not born a man. She has lived her entire life as a woman. She is intersex. That's it. She's not trans. Being trans and being intersex, though sometimes related, not the same thing.
The other boxer.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were disturbed by that. It's very disturbing to watch because it's a man.
Oh, it's so disturbing. Have you ever watched two women beat the shit out of each other? Because that's also disturbing, but we have turned it into a sport called boxing. It turns out two people beating the shit out of each other is gonna look pretty bad. Bill Maher.
Beating the shit out of a woman. I'm just saying there's stuff inside the bubble that could be bad too.
Okay, well, what I would...
Didn't we also see Logan Paul get the snot punched out of him too? Yeah, but that's different because men.
Say to that, because I don't... First of all, if you're talking about a 12-year-old...
You want your daughter run over.
No,
I'm kidding.
That's pre-pubescent, and a boy who identifies as a girl and, you know, for all intents and purposes is a girl, is not going to...
What about trans men? Excellent question, Pork Chop Express. Bill Maher doesn't seem to care about trans men and is extraordinarily fixated on trans women, which I find pretty interesting because it speaks to a number of underlying motivations to his position that are not very pretty when you start to unravel them, you know? For a lot of folks, it either boils down to they are attracted to trans women. That's one possibility. Another is a deep amount of sexism. Another is, you know, patriarchy. Like, there is a reflexive idea, and it's a double standard for sure, when it comes to trans women versus trans men, which is that people have bought into, you know, kind of the unspoken elements, generally unspoken elements of the patriarchy. They kind of approach these topics from a perspective of, well, of course, women want to become men. Being a man is great. But I don't understand men wanting to become women, because women are weak and disgusting. And like, the patriarchal idea here is that, of course, manhood is something everyone should aspire to be and to attain. And trans women are the embodiment of a rejection of that masculinity, those ideas that undergird patriarchy. And so, like, yeah, exactly, K-Fox. You want to be a man? That makes sense. Oh, you want to be a girl? Why would you ever want that? That's disgusting. You're gross. Clearly must be for sex reasons. And so, like, that's kind of what's going on here, I think, with Bill Maher. Because Bill Maher is just... he's a guy who doesn't really get it. You know? He's here, and, like, I don't know if maybe he's sexually attracted to trans women and ashamed about it. I don't know if maybe he... especially because, you know, the word on the street is he likes younger ladies. And if you're into younger ladies these days, there's a chance one might encounter a trans lady who is just out there living her best life. And, like, he might be kind of worried about what that might mean if he's attracted to trans women. Another element of that is, of course, because, and for him, of course, he'd be worried about that because to men of his generation, being attracted to trans women is by and large seen as gay. And of course, it's not gay for a man to be attracted to a woman, but, like, Bill Maher hasn't really kept up with the times. Yeah, he kind of has some chaser vibes to him, you know? So, like, it might be that, but I think it all kind of compounds, right? It all comes from that place of patriarchy. And so, anyway, that's where he's coming from. But if you notice him being very hung up on trans women in particular, I'm trying to explain that dynamic to you.
You know, have the if you're talking about like late teens, like after puberty,
he said, I think 12 was when he was talking about.
Yeah, that's prepubescent, right?
I know, but like
so there's the difference between a boy and a girl is minimal at prepubescent, and if and
I think you
it's
could
true.
I think you could find some
physically.
I don't think physically.
Look
it
up, Bill. Look up. You're talking about.
First of all, I remember being 12. There's some big 12-year-old boys.
There's some big 12-year-old girls. There are.
You know, what's fascinating about this is Bill Maher encountering just, like, an actual normal person when it comes to trans issues. You know, like, David Cross, I don't think has, like, thought a ton about this and isn't, like, up on all the arguments or anything like that, but, like, he knows enough to, like, know, like, the kinds of kids that are in his kids' class, or, like, to know, you know, kind of like the general gist of these topics. And, like, Bill Maher seems just utterly baffled by basic human decency being put on display by David Cross.
Why can't you just say it's true? I mean, this is what's wrong with that, with the loony left. You know, like they just die on hills that are unnecessary to die on. I mean, 12-year-old boys. You know, I get what this guy was saying. He's a Democrat.
Well, I would say the same thing to him. I don't give a shit whether he's Democrat or Republican or Libertarian or Independent or whatever the fuck. The idea of 12-year-olds.
Okay, what about the other one, Olympics?
I don't know the boxing story or situation.
Didn't get in the bubble.
Yeah, that's fine. But now you can edify me. You can tell me. So was this So it was a man. When did they transition? Did they take puberty blockers and all that?
It's a little murky.
It's a little murky, says man who has no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
If you read it up on it, it would be like they have their side of the story about why technically, you know what, I can't recreate it.
Why can't you just be a hateful bigot? OMG, Bill Maher is worse than I thought. This man is terrible.
Kids these days, they don't like it when you come at them with your hateful bigotry. And it's just like, yeah, no shit, man. People don't like that. Turns out. It's weird. Did Bill Maher get worse in the last 10 to 15 years, or did I just move further left? No, Bill Maher has actively gotten worse, but I will also hit you with this. Bill Maher has always been actively bigoted. It's just that 10, 15 years ago, he was directing a lot of that energy towards, like, Muslim people. Like, that was his punching bag of the time. And, like, I do think he's gotten even more bigoted since then. But also, you know, you probably are capable of introspection and growth, and you've probably just become a better person because you're intellectually curious about yourself and the world and your relationship to it, you know? When you are able to maintain that curiosity, you're able to maintain that ability to analyze yourself and, like, improve yourself, get better, you know?
People who just came off as somebody who looked like a dude and punched like a dude beating up a woman. There may be a technical reason why.
There may be a technical reason. You're talking about someone who's intersex, you big dumb bitch. Like, that's what the problem is. You're not talking about a trans person. You're talking about someone who's intersex. God, I hate this guy. Like, I hate him because he speaks with so much confidence while knowing nothing about what he's actually talking about. It's genuinely crazy. It's like watching the personification of, like, the ability of certain mediocre men to just fail upward in life. It's like watching a guy who's an absolute piece of shit slip on a banana peel and, like, fall into a pile of money in a world where, like, it's finders keepers. So now he just gets to walk away with all the money. It's crazy.
This was a little different.
I don't know. But there is physical differences between a person's body once testosterone kicks in, right? There's testosterone is what you know, puberty.
Yes.
So I don't know if but
they also have bigger muscle mass and just bigger.
If they have testosterone and they haven't
even before that.
No.
Okay.
Bill is just a big dumb bitch. And I know that my commentary here is not super insightful or interesting on that point. I know I'm just pausing this to call him a big dumb bitch. But I will say, again, if he knew anything about anything, before puberty, boys and girls are basically the same to such a degree that in the English language, the word, like, girl was literally a word to refer to all children below a certain age, that age being, like, the general age of puberty. So, like, in our own language, the word girl literally was something that did not signify gender, because to people like 100, 200 years ago, there was functionally no difference. You're just a kid.
Well,
no, that's not true. The disparity between and there are bigger kids and there are bigger boys and there are also bigger girls. I've seen girls, you know, trans not being a thing. I've seen girls kick the shit out of boys. It's about the individual person, right? Is it not? Do you remember third grade?
Third grade, I remember it, but I also remember that.
Also, look, I don't even think we need to go back to like 3rd grade. There are women who exist right now. Believe it or not. I know this is crazy. There are women who exist right now. Cis women who could beat the shit out of Bill Maher. Who are just bigger than he is, stronger than he is, faster than he is, etc., etc., etc. Like this world that he's built for himself, and a lot of people who are deep into like the manosphere, etc., think like this, which is that like the weakest man couldn't possibly be beaten up by the strongest girl. And like that's just not true. Like women can be strong as fuck. It's crazy. Like the fact that I even have to like go to this basic ass observation is insane to me.
He said 12, and 12
Okay, so what,
is, I mean, first
fifth
of all,
or sixth?
12,
I don't know.
I think kids reach puberty a lot earlier than they used to. I'm not sure why that is, but I've read articles about that they don't know. Maybe it's that we give them too much meat or something's in the meat, or I don't. They have lots of theories about it. What they see, you know, what it could be psychological because they see so many things, images that we didn't when we were kids.
You think so?
I think it's certainly possible. It certainly
I
has
think it
to
would
be
probably
one
be
of the.
more about like shit in our food and.
You don't think something that enters your mind?
I don't know.
No, but it's
You
not.
mean-
It's not a
well,
ridiculous premise.
I
that-
didn't say it was.
No, no. I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying it's not.
I'm not saying you said I didn't.
I'm just saying.
All right.
People selling people to people. That's what I'm saying. No,
I don't. So you're. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you? Where do you stand on trans?
At the reasonable place where, of course, it's a real thing, and of course they should be protected and respected. But there is a default setting for humans. I don't think where America is now, we're an out.
No one's arguing there aren't like relative norms in which most of humanity exists within. Like no one's arguing that norms don't exist. Like in any group there are going to be norms.
Liar country. We don't do anything like the only people in the world who do this anymore, and I'm talking about not notifying parents in some places, letting kids self-diagnose.
Like, I'm sorry, the only place in the world that doesn't notify parents. Like, can we be like super honest right now?
Proper nutrition leads to average lower puberty, or so I've read, but Bill is still using disinformation and BS to be transphobic.
Well, interestingly, that part is true. The part about like earlier onset of puberty happening, that's true. People aren't exactly sure what has caused that, but they do think that it's like, you know, possibly like microplastics, different endocrine disruptors in the environment. It could also just be we are exposed to increased levels of stress within our school system, within our society, etc. And that can also speed up puberty. Also, obesity, nutrition, you know, kind of the nutritional failings of the food supply in the United States and the way like food is distributed winds up leading to earlier onset of puberty as well. So there are a lot of different aspects for why. But like what Bill's talking about here with like, oh man, where parents aren't being notified. The idea that you should be notified every time your kid gets a new nickname at school or is like requesting to be referred to in a different way. Like, I'm sorry, should you be getting a notification every time your son Thomas starts getting called Tommy? Or if he like develops, I don't know, the nickname I don't know. The first one that came to mind was Toilet Shoe. because one time he stepped into a toilet on a dare, and everyone started calling him Toilet Shoe. Should you be alerted to these things as a parent? I don't think you need to. Like, kids get nicknames. Kids try out different names. It's a thing that they do. It's not difficult to figure out.
At early ages and then doing actual surgery, puberty block.
No, kids are not doing self-diagnosis at an early age. Sure, you can't stop people from self-diagnosing. You can stop them from getting a diagnosis, which is the requirement to do any future steps, unless they're a goddamn adult, in which case you can do informed consent transition. That's your right as an adult.
Things that are absolutely irreversible. That's just something only the
Prepubescent kids can't get these irreversible surgeries. And in the cases where, like, kids that are, 16 get, like, top surgery, guess what? The most common form of top surgery is done on cis men and cis boys to treat gynecomastia. Because having breast tissue gives cis men dysphoria. It makes them uncomfortable. It ruins their quality of life. In some cases, some cis boys have contemplated suicide because they're so uncomfortable with the breast tissue on their body. So, again, just want to point out here, 99% of top surgeries are done on cis men. Like, it's crazy. But you only get talked about with top surgery when it comes to, of course, trans kids.
Are puberty blockers irreversible?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's something only the Democratic Party believes in anymore.
I believe for, just...
Puberty blockers are not irreversible. Source: we have used 99% of all puberty blockers ever on cisgender children. Like, if puberty blocker effects were forever, we wouldn't use them on cisgender children in the 99% of cases. This man is a stupid bitch. And it's just fucking crazy. What the fuck happened to Bill Maher? I recall him being a kind of cool late night liberal atheist guy. Yeah, he kind of made a name off of that, but like he was always pretty like kind of like what's his name? Sam. My brain is saying Sam Bankman-Fried, but that's not the right guy. Not Sam Reich. What are the other Sams? Not Sam Cedar. Definitely not that Sam. Sam Harris. Thank you. Thank you. Sam Harris was kind of formed in the same mold as Bill Maher in my mind. Like, Bill Maher made a name for himself being very outspoken against, like, Islam and, religion, but he always had, like, a bigoted streak to him, And it has especially become more pointed and worse over time. And it has expanded to include trans people.
Democratic Party believes in anymore.
I believe for, just...
just the idea of puberty blockers, of anything. Look, my health always comes first. The idea of, like,
This is the tequila, right?
Yes.
I'm not trying to be funny.
Boy, if he's going to start on this, I'm going to need another drink. But the idea of reversing anything in my body or blocking anything, I'm old enough to know now. I've learned through different things, like a lot of health comes down to like keeping all the pipes clear in every way.
What the fuck are you talking about? You gotta keep the children's pipes clear. Hey you, little girl, have you been keeping your pipes clear? Haven't been visiting any bad websites, have you? Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
When things are blocked or
Yeah, gotta have that nice thin blood. That's why I take 10 aspirin every day.
First, or you use any kind of drug that has a beneficial effect, but it also is going to block something or have some side effect that reverses how your body naturally wants to work, it's always going to be a problem. That's
You stupid bitch! That's all of medical science. All of medical science is fighting how your body naturally responds to infection. How your body naturally, like, is going to deal with, I don't know, bleeding out. Like, motherfucker, all of medical science is there to stop what would otherwise naturally occur to you that would be, you know, antithetical to your goal of staying alive. All of this, yes, all of this is he's sitting next to a table full of alcohol, a neurotoxin. I don't believe in gumming up my works. You stupid bitch, you have like 3 empty drinks next to you. I just,
why I recommend my piss tube. Okay? You merely lie in bed and put your dick in it. You don't have to get up.
At this point, we're
I'm sorry.
You merely lie. That's why I recommend my piss tube. Okay? You merely lie in bed and put your dick in it. You don't have to get up.
I hope that he's joking, but I genuinely don't know enough about Bill Maher to know whether or not he's the kind of guy who would actually have a tube that he can stick his dick in when he's in bed and too lazy to get up to pee. That just, like, siphons his pee away. Yeah, a humble piss tube merchant, indeed. I the part of the problem is with Bill Maher, I don't know if that's a joke or if that's like just a real thing that he's laughing about. Because like I could very easily see that being a real thing for him. And I don't think he has the self-awareness to realize that's how he's coming across. You know? Does he not know what a catheter is? Well, I mean, I'm sure he knows what a catheter is, but I want to point out that you don't stick your dick into a catheter. The catheter is stuck into your dick. Very important distinction.
At this point, we're probably getting fairly close to being able to look at examples of adults that had, puberty blockers when they were younger, right? And find out if medically, in the same way, like, 30 years ago, people said, oh, 2 gay dads.
Also, just want to point out, like, the entire argument of, like, oh, what the human default is, you know? Just want to point out to you guys, the human, like, what is natural for humans includes cancer. like cancer is naturally occurring. It naturally occurs in all animals. And like it's pretty deadly to a lot of different animals, with the exception of whales, because they just get multiple different types of cancer that fight each other, which is fascinating to me. But that's a side tangent, okay? But Bill Maher just out here being like, well, yeah, you look, if it's your time to die, you get cancer, it's time for you to die. With Bill Maher's view of medical science, maybe he'll go the Jordan Peterson route. Maybe.
That's not completely true, because not everything.
No, I guess I'm saying we've probably getting close to whoever the first kids were that had that becoming.
Yeah, but what
adults.
I know you're saying that, and and what I'm saying is you can't really say what the effect is 30 years later, because you don't know when somebody gets cancer. Nobody says to you, except if it's lung cancer, did you smoke? Yeah, there's an obvious one. Other than that, it's just, we don't know why you got it. And they don't.
No, we know why people develop cancer. Like cancer cells develop when your body creates new cells with flawed DNA. And then that flaw in the DNA causes them to multiply and like fuck up your body because they're not operating correctly. Like, we know a bunch of different things contribute to this, but like the fact that he's comparing trans people to cancer, I don't know, as a trans person, I find a little bit troubling.
Don't know why. Something went wrong in the body. And what caused that? What were the factors?
So you're saying you don't know? It's
what we're saying, we don't know.
We don't know.
Could having puberty blockers 30 years ago be part of that? What
we've been giving kids, I'm sorry, history of puberty blockers. Let's see here.
Was looking for asterisk tube, couldn't find it, but I did find this.
Thank you for the link. I am not going to click on that until after we finish this. All right. All right. My goodness. Let's see. Oh, here's a study from 2022. Pubertal blockade and subsequent gender-affirming therapy. True, and unrelated. Let's see. This was not at all the thing I was looking for. That's fine. Ah, here we go. History of and evidence for puberty suppression as intervention for children experiencing gender dysphoria. Let's take a look. No, this is actually also not what I'm looking for. God damn it. Ah, here we go. Short-term treatment of idiopathic precocious puberty with a long-acting analog of luteinizing hormone-releasing hormone. A preliminary report. This is from 1981. 1981. They were studying the effects of puberty suppression. In 1981. It started being used in the 1990s for gender-affirming care. (1981), that's nearly 20 years ago. Would you believe me if I told you it was 45 years ago? Like, Bill Maher over here is like, well, what if we had puberty blockers for 30 years? We haven't had that yet. There's no way to predict the effects. We've been using them for almost half a century already, you absolute dipshit.
Your body was doing to compensate for that. I mean, I had like Accutane acne medicine in the 90s. Could that, if I got cancer tomorrow, would that possibly be a factor from some? Yes, possibly.
So it sounds like you're just making my point, because if a puberty blocker is just like Accutane or
not good
cereal,
it's never going to be a good.
Okay, so are we going to get rid of Accutane? Are we going to get, because it might be bad?
Well, you certainly should give the patient the information to say, here's what.
Well, we don't have the information though.
Oh, well, that's even worse. I mean...
But we don't have the information for a lot of things.
But generally, what I do know, we may not have specific information, is that when you do something like block what your body's natural hormones are raging to do, that just intuitively tells me not a great health result in the future. You really don't see it that way?
Well, I'll go back to what I said. We should... be approaching the time when we can really look at this and get more of a definitive answer, whether it does affect people. Because I know trans...
And in the meantime, just keep doing it.
I'm 100% pro-science to help people. I do not have an issue with trans kids. I know a couple of them. They're awesome, and I think their lives would be absolutely miserable if they weren't allowed to.
Medical science isn't intuitive. What you mean is it isn't intuitive to provide a gigantic electric shock to someone's stopped heart in order to start it again? I don't know. I don't know about that. Electricity plus human flesh equals heart pump, of course.
Live the life they're living.
Yeah, and sometimes I would agree that is the case.
I mean, that is literally, for
sometimes that's
100%
the case,
of my experience.
And there's also many cases of people who regret it.
What's the percentage? I don't think it's that big.
Bless you, Dave Cross. Bless you. I don't think that percentage is that big. Bless him. He doesn't know what the exact percentage is, but he knows enough to know that Bill is full of shit. And I love that for him.
It's not in the bubble, but it's there.
Tell me. You're out of the bubble.
I am. I don't know.
Is it above 7%?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you don't know then.
I do know because I've read so many.
Me.
I don't know what the percentage is, okay? But I've certainly read many, many accounts of people who have said this.
I don't know what the percentage is, but I've read many accounts. That's also not a percentage. One might even argue that that is anecdotal, Bill.
You
I don't know what the.
You can imagine that there would be nobody who did it and didn't regret it.
I didn't say that. I'm
okay,
sure there are.
Well, then
there are people who regret tattoos.
So you're saying there's a certain percentage it's worth it to sacrifice them. If it's 10% of people who regret it and they'll never have
just vibes-based peasant brain. Oh, absolutely. By his logic, the body's heart stopped naturally, so therefore CPR is going against nature. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Have an orgasm again, and now they're a gay man without a dick. That's okay because.
What are you talking about? Like, the way. Okay, look. As somebody who has like engaged a lot with like materials on bottom surgery, etc., etc., etc. I don't want to give TMI, but I can assure you guys that the process isn't like, I don't know, going on a fucking bender in Vegas and like waking up without your dick. That's not how that works. Gay man. Yeah, because again, what Bill is arguing here is that there is going to be a case where, you know, someone, you know, a man who is attracted to other men in this circumstance decides to become a trans woman, and then like, you know, gets all the letters, all of like the recommendations from multiple different experts to get top surgery, and then goes through all of that rigmarole again to get the recommendations from medical professionals that, you know, it is a necessary surgery for you to get bottom surgery. And then in this circumstance that Bill is imagining is supposedly super common, this person realizes, oh wait, I was never trans. I'm just a gay man. But now I've had bottom surgery and I've had top surgery, and now you're just a dickless gay man. And it's just like, I can't say for sure that a situation like this has never happened, but I can say for sure that the number of barriers between like a gay man who like wants to try out being a trans woman and getting bottom surgery, there are a lot of very real, very difficult to overcome barriers with that. Okay? And like, yeah, like we're talking like years of effort. And look, those years of effort make like this type of situation, like we're talking like less than 1% of the time. Like we're talking 0.001% of the time. Like maybe you could find like one person like this in the world right now. Like this is not even at all remotely common. I have never heard of this scenario actually happening, where someone has gotten through all the different surgeries and realized, oh, I'm a gay man. Surgeons in the US likely wouldn't do it, and traveling somewhere that would be incredibly expensive. And even if a surgeon in the US would do it, it's still incredibly expensive. Yeah, 100%. Like, this is such an obnoxious thing to say. This is like worrying about someone who's gonna like, what if somebody goes into the ER and says they have cancer and then starts getting cancer treatment, and then after they've been in the hospital for like 3 weeks on nonstop intensive chemo, they realize, well, I don't really have cancer. I just came in to say that. I'm actually 100% better. And then like checks out. That's about the same level of likelihood. I want you all to like wrap your head around that. Like, and to argue we should get rid of all chemo because of that tiny percentage chance that could happen is absolutely ridiculous. God. And like, that isn't even to say like detransitioners don't exist. They do. And like, they're wonderful and deserve love and respect as well. But like, that's not what Bill Maher is arguing about here.
I'm just asking.
Yeah,
That's kind of what you're saying.
It is what I'm saying, I guess. If
okay.
9 out of 10 people are happy, then
Okay.
yeah,
well,
I would.
mean, you're putting that decision in the hands of children often who are confused about everything. So the idea that they could self-diagnose and the idea that I could tell you anything about my own life when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all these ages. I mean,
Did you know if you were gay or not?
I was just hanging on. I knew I was not.
Okay.
It's just the immediate turnaround on that. I couldn't tell you anything about my life when I was 9 or 10. Did you know you were gay? If you were gay or not? Well, I knew I wasn't gay. Like, fucking get blown out immediately. It's the same thing with trans kids. They know. Like you know if you have crushes on boys or girls or both when you're in school at like 9 or 10. You might not know what like straight or like, you know, bi or whatever. You might not know the terms, but you know who you have crushes on. Like, you might not have been able to say a whole lot about being 9 or 10, but you would have been able to say pretty definitively whether or not you were a boy. Right, Bill? It's the same with trans kids. The fact that, like, these old doddering fucks can't wrap their head around that it's the same for trans people as it is for cis people, it's crazy to me. They talk about us and treat us like we're fucking different creatures.
I knew I was not.
All right.
I certainly was not thinking about men when I was masturbating.
Okay. So that's a solid thing you knew when you were...
It was solid from morning till night. I was...
Ew, stop talking about your little kid penis.
Not thinking about men. I was thinking about, I don't know, Goldie Hawn and Diane Carroll and Anne Margaret and Raquel Welch.
Stop.
And, you know,
Did you have brothers and sisters?
I have a sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that relevant? Because
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, God.
Your family upbringing.
You?
I have 2 younger sisters.
Oh.
And
they must be proud of you. My sister's very proud of me.
I'm very close with the middle sister. I'm the oldest. And nothing against the younger sister, but
no,
I've talked about her. Just we're from different worlds. We live in different worlds.
Yes.
She's very...
that happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, my sister and I live in different worlds, but, you know, still love each other. And
is she older?
She's older.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to, you know, when you get to this age and you see the things that you knew about somebody from as far back as, you know, 60 years ago, and you just see, oh, that was always there, and that's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Like, I wish somebody had told me that, you know, about myself, just about like, you know what, stop making this New Year's resolution. You're just always going to be this way about this.
Bring it up, chunky.
Yeah. Stop banging your head against the wall. Just accept yourself, you know?
Yeah, that.
Man,
we all know Bill Maher was thinking about P-tubes. He is statistically more likely to regret not having one than trans people regret gender-affirming care.
True. Bissellist, thank you for the $5 dono. Also, just like, what a sad way to think about yourself. Like, I think that, like, it's good to accept parts of yourself that are static. Like, say your gender identity, who you are, who you're attracted to, etc. But like, to just be like, well, you shouldn't keep trying to change for the better, which I feel like is what he's saying here. I don't know. I feel like stagnation is death. Don't allow yourself to stagnate. You can always be better.
Was honestly my favorite episode of Bringing Up Chunky. It was a very special episode.
All right. Well, I have to pee, and I did not bring my piss tube.
Why?
So
You could have plugged it.
I mean,
and tell me the name of it again.
I mean, piss tube is just the first thought that came to my head, but I'm sure there's something better than that.
I think you do. I think you go Bill Maher's piss tube.
Well,
and then your face is on there, right?
But if I call it Bill Maher's piss tube, isn't that kind of a flex? In the
piss tube
yeah,
community?
I just think the kids are going to be like, he's so full of himself inventing the piss tube. No, but like if it worked in bed, again, longer.
Oh boy, this is not great. Man, oh man. Yeah, that's not a flex. But also, he was definitely trying to do a bit there. It's just such a baffling bit to me. Like, it just comes across as, like, suckiness, Which, ironically, is something you need at the other end of the piss tube for it to work. So maybe it makes more sense that, he's doing that. Seriously, what's a piss tube? It's something he mentioned earlier about, when you're too lazy to get out of bed to pee, you can just pee into a tube. So that's Bill Maher being wrong about trans kids for... Oh god, there's another section of this where he talks about fucking AI and Tilly Norwood. I can't expose myself to this level of stupidity. I can't do it. I won't do it. I refuse. You guys can't make me. No. Catheters are tubes that go into your dick. The piss tube is one that you put your dick into. Who's Lily Norwood? Lily Norwood is an AI actress. All right. It's over. Yes, it's over. We made it through. Now, the very important thing to know is that we need to organize politically, because otherwise, whatever decrepit audience that Bill Maher has is going to continue to show up unopposed to your local Democratic meetings, okay? So you guys need to do yourselves and your community a favor by joining your local Democrats and moving them further left and farther away from whatever stupidity Bill Maher is talking about, okay? On top of that, you need to get involved with your local DSA. We got someone recently involved with DSA just in today's stream. So if you are interested in organizing and stopping rich, out of touch fucks like Bill Maher from taking over your local community, we can help you do that. Join our Discord, reach out to GamerG for help with DSA, or reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. And folks, also, remember to leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words really help in the algorithm. And subscribe. And last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. And you know what? You can buy it also if you're cis. I've just thrown that out there. You can buy a set even if you're cis. There are no laws against it yet, unless we don't organize against Bill Maher and his ilk. In which case, buy some to tell Bill Maher to go shove it. I'm rambling now. Do the things. ImogeneOlivia.com, link down in the description, and let's keep on going. How do you join the Discord? It's super easy. ! Discord in any of the chats. There you go. Should get you a link that you can use to join the Discord. There you go. riverboat.gg/discord. Yes, Tilly Norwood is an AI actress. Oof. If you could topple any institution, what would it be? Any institution in the United States? Are there limits on this? What do I think about Kristi Noem's big titty hubby? I don't know. I don't have any judgment for him, I guess. Like, it's not my thing. I think it's funny that it's Kristi Noem's husband. I don't know. Like that's like most of these Republican lawmakers are absolute like porn-brained like dingleberries. So like it's not a surprise to me. Bill Maher's been well-informed since 2003 when HBO made the well-informed decision to give him his own talk show. Dare you punch down? It's true. There is a level of ableism to me punching down on Bill Maher.
Was good to see Cross bring a little sanity to Mars horseshit. Hope things are good.
Hell yeah. My voice is getting tired though, so I'm gonna try to make it through some additional segments here. But Grackle, thank you for the $5 super chat. And also, folks, we've been going for almost 2 hours. If you've been enjoying the show, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and also do consider dropping those subs, donos, memberships, super chats, etc. I'm be doing my best to try and fill the gap because I missed like a full week of work, and that is scary as a content creator. Drink some water. I don't have water down here. Also, I've been drinking a lot of water. Don't you worry. Also, speaking of good news, everyone, I just want to let you all know that one of my favorite little guys, Sam Neill, officially no longer has blood cancer, and I'm real happy about that. He's one of my favorite guys on like TikTok/Instagram. And look, I'm just glad he's gonna be okay, right? Sam Neill's great. When he's not acting, he just has like a little farm in New Zealand, and he likes to post little snippets of his time on the farm. And like, just look at how delightful this is.
You want to be a bumblebee with me? Of course you do. Let's go bumble around the lavender. So good.
He's just a delight. He's just out there like loving nature up. I'm sad I was unaware of this man before now. Yeah, he's the guy who hates kids in Jurassic Park. And like, he's just delightful.
Another old friend. I rescued her a few years ago. She lived in a battery farm. And the battery farm was going bung. And they were looking for homes for their little brown chickens. She came to live here. She'd never seen the sky before. She'd never stood on the ground before. Now she lives here and she lays eggs. It's a happily ever after story. Look.
He's just such a good egg. He's the guy who removed the Union Jack from the Aussie flag in the Demon Ship movie? Yeah. Sam Neill is just a delight. Yeah, he's from Event Horizon, In the Mouth of Madness. He's been in a lot of stuff. Okay. Just real quick. Here we go. So, folks, I do owe you all an apology. You see, several months ago, I started doing this bit that I called the nice agent, which is, the idea of a hypothetical ICE agent who just wildly misinterprets different directives because they're both naive and stupid. And it would go, "Oh, geez, Sarge, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to let him get away. You said bring him in, and I thought you meant for a big hug. I'm so sorry, Sarge." And like, I just just came up with like a bunch of these different scenarios and misinterpretations. I thought it was a pretty decent to middling bit, and unfortunately, well, geez, chat, I really messed this one up because, well, the White House has announced that they are changing ICE, officially changing the name to National Immigration and Customs Enforcement so that they can call them nice agents. And, I just want to say, oh, it's official? Yes, it's official. They are changing it. That is a thing that is happening. And you might be wondering, why is this happening? I thought it was a shit meme they posted. No, it's apparently because several days ago, a conservative influencer over on X, the site formerly known as Twitter, posted the following. Just, I want Trump to change ICE to NICE, National Immigration and Customs Enforcement, so the media has to say nice agents all day, every day. A lot of conservatives reacted very positively to this and got Donald Trump's eyeballs on it, to which he responded, "Great idea. Do it, President Donald J. Trump." Like, yeah, of course it's a young blonde woman, number one. But number two, our president, like, we are at war with Iran. And our president has the time to sit around scrolling through Twitter to see what they're up to over there. Well, like, what are the conservative influencers talking about? Rename ICE to NICE? Perfect. Beautiful idea. It's so stupid. Every aspect, all of the circumstances around this are so cartoonishly vile. It's wild. Is he just stalking the accounts of young women? Well, she's a conservative influencer, and when she posted this, a bunch of other conservative influencers responded saying it was a good idea. So basically, a bunch of the conservosphere manifested this into existence. And Donald Trump saw it and thought, that's great. Let's do that. Because surely if we call them nice agents, people will think they're nice and forget about, the fact that they are masked criminals wandering the streets, abducting black and brown people and shooting people in the fucking face. Surely if we call them nice agents, no one will realize that they're actually one of the greatest modern day American sins. Now hopefully they also all adapt the personality of your version. Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, hopefully they just lean into that that Benny Hill mentality that they had when they were in Minneapolis, when they were slipping and sliding around on the ice. Just really embrace that aspect. God. Now Democrats are going to have to call for abolishing NICE. Oh, the optics. Right? It's really fucking stupid. Now the question is, can they change the name officially? No, they can't, because Congress needs to actually sign off on this. But want to point out, this hasn't stopped them from calling the Department of Defense the Department of War for like the last several months. So, they're just gonna call it what they're gonna call it. Gotta say, Republicans are really good at propaganda. Yeah, they're the best. They're really nailing this. All that being said, I just have to apologize. I'm so sorry. I made this happen. I manifested it into reality with my mediocre jokes, and I will endeavor to not do that ever again. My jokes must become better so I don't accidentally turn awful things into reality. All that being said, folks, get organized. Join your local Dems. Make them more progressive. Join your local DSA. Make them more effective. Join. If you don't know where to start, join our Discord, ! Discord in any of the chats. And also, like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, do the things. Comments longer than 8 words really helping the algorithm. And also, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Check it out. It is non-tucking lingerie. It's sexy. It makes you feel good. Go check it out. ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going. Manifest cool things next time. I'll do my best. I'll do my best, guys. I'm so sorry. God.
Oh hey, you're back. I am glad that at bare minimum your voice is doing better.
It is doing better. I'm testing it out. This is the longest I've been able to talk since I got sick. So we're probably getting close to when I gotta cut out. But I do want to get 2 more segments done. Okay? I want to get 2 more segments done. Does this mean you can call them Nazi ice now? That's the secret. You could always call them Nazi ice. All right. Next, we got to talk about the Trump assassination attempt. So here we go. So, folks, we have to talk about the fact that someone tried to kill the president of the United States. Allegedly. Now, I find this really interesting on several different levels, but I do want to be upfront about this. I'm not copping to any of these ideas that this was staged or a hoax or a false flag. I think that's all nonsense. I gotta level with you. Like, are there a lot of weird things, a lot of weird coincidences around this? Absolutely. Is it staged? No. Like, I just think it's weird coincidences that are pretty easily explained. And I do want to say, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here, but I just don't think that whatever is going on here is the Trump administration doing a false flag on itself. It's a silly circus. It is. And I'll try and like kind of disentangle it a little bit here. Okay. Let's take a look at just kind of an overview of what happened, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Here we go.
At 8:15 p.m., the President and First Lady arrived at the White House Correspondents' Dinner at Washington's Hilton Hotel. It's one of the biggest nights on D.C.'s social calendar, and a challenging one for security. Among the more than 2,300 attendees were a number of high-ranking officials, including the Vice President, 12 cabinet secretaries, and leaders of Congress.
Welcome to the 2026 White House Correspondents' Dinner.
At 8:34 p.m., one floor above the ballroom, security camera footage shows the suspect rushed through the security checkpoint. The checkpoint is equipped with a weapon-detecting magnetometer and guarded by several agents. They quickly drew their weapons and pursued the suspect. It would later be revealed that he was armed with a shotgun, handgun, and knives. 30 seconds later, back downstairs in the ballroom, several shots can be heard. But the president and others don't immediately react. 10 seconds after the first shots, the First Lady and guests appear to notice something is wrong. One agent moves to stand behind the president, while on the opposite side of the dais, several agents quickly evacuate Vice President Vance. Nearly 20 seconds after the first shots, as attendees hide beneath tables, agents crowd the president and begin pulling him off stage.
Now, some people have pointed to the fact that, like, they didn't get Donald Trump out of there really fast as, like, a suspicious thing. It's not really that suspicious. He's, like, a billion years old. He's senile as hell. He doesn't understand that there's any urgency. And also, like, it's very clear that his security team is aware of that, which is why instead of, like, moving him quickly like they could with JD Vance, instead a guy jumped in front of presumably what he thought might be bullets. It's not difficult to see why the capabilities of different people in this scenario might be different.
President Trump falls to the ground before regaining his footing and is...
He has argued that he was not, he did not fall to the ground. That's bullshit. He did fall to the ground. Okay.
Pulled from the ballroom roughly 30 seconds into the incident. Outside the ballroom, Speaker Mike Johnson is evacuated. Officers cross the stage and scan the crowd with weapons drawn, as Secret Service agents quickly fan out across the ballroom floor, climbing over chairs and tables as they make their way to administration officials.
Gunshots fired at the White House Correspondents' Center.
The room is packed, and the close arrangement of tables and chairs hindered agents trying to quickly evacuate administration officials. Deputy White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller and his wife Katie Miller exit to the right side of the dais, while agents escort Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. and his wife out of the opposite side of the room. Two more agents secure Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is then led to still another exit. In the minutes after the shooting, House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, and Small Business Administration Administrator Kelly Loeffler are escorted down a hallway of the hotel. They are then followed by Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin. At 5 minutes to 9, video appears to show the suspect, covered by a foil blanket, lying on the ground, 1 floor above the ballroom. He would later be identified as Cole Tomas Allen, 31, from Torrance, California.
Our program is going to resume.
Just before 9 p.m., White House Correspondents Association President...
I think this is about all we need here. But there's nothing about this that isn't explicable. Like, oh, how did he get through the security checkpoint? He ran like crazy, and they aren't doing heavy security for a non, like, official event, you know? The White House Correspondents' Dinner is not run by the White House. Like, it's run by the various press agencies, right? This isn't considered like a high security, high importance event, which maybe is a failing of like the security apparatus, but like it's not considered like the, I don't know, the event you have to like lock down. It's in a fucking hotel room, you know, like it's in the not atrium, like, you know, fancy ballroom, if you will. We'll get there, of the hotel, right? And like, a who's who of wonderful people, indeed. I heard Secret Service wanted to do more security and Trump shot it down. Yeah, maybe. Okay. Like, the main thing to understand here is that I gotta be honest, the weirdest thing about all of this to me is the actual shooter and his manifesto. Especially if you're trying to make it make sense with, like, any kind of false flag narrative, right? Here is his manifesto. Hey, hello, everybody. So I may have given a lot of people a surprise today. Let me start off by apologizing to everyone whose trust I abused. I apologize to my parents for saying I had an interview without specifying it was for Most Wanted. I apologize to my colleagues and students for saying I had a personal emergency. By the time anyone reads this, I probably most certainly do need to go to the ER, but can hardly call that not a self-inflicted status. I apologize to all of the people I traveled next to, all the workers who handled my luggage, and all of the other non-targeted people at the hotel who I put in danger simply by being near. I apologize to everyone who was abused and or murdered before this, to all of those who suffered before I was able to attempt this, to all who may still suffer after, regardless of my success or failure. I don't expect forgiveness, but if I could have seen any other way to get this close, I would have taken it. Again, my sincere apologies on why I did any of this. I am a citizen of the United States of America. What my representatives do reflects on me. I'm no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. Well, to be completely honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I've had to do something about it. While I'm discussing this, I'll go over my expected rules of engagement, probably in a terrible format, but I'm not military, so too bad. Administration officials, not including Mr. Patel, they are targets prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. Secret Service are targets only if necessary and to be incapacitated non-lethally if possible. AKA I hope they're wearing body armor because center mass with shotguns messes up people who aren't. Hotel security, not targets if at all possible, AKA unless they shoot at me. Capitol Police, same as hotel security. National Guard, same as hotel security. Hotel employees, not targets at all. Guests, not targets at all. In order to minimize casualties, I'll be using buckshot rather than slugs. Less penetration through walls. Like, this is the weirdest part about it. You know, like, this guy is apparently like someone who's gone to like Caltech. He's been to a lot of different like super smart people schools, and like he's won awards for his like his teaching. Like, this guy is like, yeah, but I'm going to use shotgun shells. I'm going to use buckshot in a crowded room to minimize casualties. Okay. All right. That's not at all how minimizing casualties would work in this scenario, but let's get beyond that. Sorry. Still a little sick. I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary, on the basis that most people chose to attend a speech by a pedophile, rapist, and traitor and are thus complicit, but I really hope it doesn't come to that. Rebuttals to objections. It's like this guy ran it through fucking ChatGPT. Objection 1. As a Christian, you should turn the other cheek. Rebuttal. Turning the other cheek is for when you are yourself are oppressed. I'm not the person raped in a detention camp. I'm not the fisherman executed without trial. I'm not a school kid blown up or a child starved or a teenage girl abused by the many criminals in this administration. Trump turning the other cheek. Turning the other cheek when someone else is oppressed is not Christian behavior. It is complicity in the oppressor's crimes. Objection 2. This is not a convenient time for you to do this. Rebuttal. I need whoever thinks this way to take a couple minutes and realize that the world isn't about them. Do you think that when I see someone raped or murdered or abused, I should walk on because it would be inconvenient for people who aren't the victim? This was the best timing and chance of success I could come up with. Objection 3. You didn't get them all. Rebuttal. Gotta start somewhere. Objection 4. As a half-black, half-white person, you shouldn't be the one doing this. Rebuttal. I don't see anyone else picking up the slack. Objection 5. Yield unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Rebuttal. The United States of America is ruled by law. The United States of America are ruled by the law, not by any one or several people. Insofar as representatives and judges do not follow the law, no one is required to yield them anything so unlawfully ordered. I would also like to extend my appreciation to a great many people, since I will not be likely able to talk with them again unless the Secret Service is astoundingly incompetent. Which, and I guess they're incompetent because he's still alive. Thank you to my family, both personal and church, for your love over these 31 years. Thank you to my friends for your companionship over many years. Thank you to my colleagues over many jobs for your positivity and professionalism. Thank you to my students for your enthusiasm and love of learning. Thank you to the many acquaintances I've met in person and online for short interactions and long-term friendship relationships, for your perspectives and inspiration. Thank you all for everything. Sincerely, Cold Force, Friendly Federal Assassin, Allen. P.S. Okay, now that all this happy stuff is done, what the hell was Secret Service doing? Sorry, gonna rant a bit here and drop the formal tone. Like, I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors at the wazoo. What I got, who knows, maybe they're pranking me, is nothing. No damn security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event. Like, the one thing I immediately noticed walking into the hotel is the sense of arrogance. I walked in with multiple weapons and not a single person there considers the possibility that I could be a threat. The security at the event is all outside, focused on protesters and current arrivals, because apparently no one thought about what happens if someone checks in the day before. Like, this level of incompetence is insane. I very sincerely hope it's corrected by the time this country actually gets competent leadership again. Like, if I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought a damn Madus in here and nobody would have noticed shit. Actually insane. Oh, and if anyone is curious about how doing something like this feels, it's awful. I want to throw up. I want to cry for all the things I wanted to do and never will, for all the people whose trust this betrays. I experience rage thinking about everything this administration has done. Can't really recommend it. Stay in school, kids. And that's the end of it. So, like, that's like, that's the weirdest part about all this, guys. Like, I just, the weirdest part is, like, this kind of guy has been radicalized to do this. You know, mild-mannered teacher doesn't really strike you as the kind of person who's about to take up arms against the president. So if you don't think this is set up, you think this was written in earnest? I do think this was written in earnest. I think it's deeply fucking weird. But human beings are weird little guys. You know? Like, I gotta be honest, like, I've read a lot of, you know, fan fiction, etc. Like, I've seen Chuck Tingle make an entire career out of his Tinglers, which includes such works as, you know, Pounded in My Butt by My Own Butt. And I gotta say, human beings are just weird little guys. And in this particular case, like, I think this is just a very weird guy. Yeah, why did he exclude Kash Patel specifically? I genuinely have no idea. Why would you exclude the FBI director? Everything about this attempt feels off. I will agree that it like everything about this is very weird, but I don't think it's actually that inexplicable. You know? Like, when was the last time someone ran fully armed past, like, a security checkpoint? Which, by the way, there was only one security checkpoint to get into this specific event. It hasn't happened. And, like, maybe he's a Blue Lives Matter guy. I don't think so. I think he's, like, mild-mannered centrist, you know? And the main thing is, were they just lazy about security? Yes. Yes. I've heard that these sorts of libs with mild politics actually get super radicalized by Trump because he's a uniquely evil aberration to them, ruining the once good USA, while more engaged leftists see him as a culmination and escalation of the government's previous evils. I mean, that could very well explain, like, the you know, the wine mom libs who are out in the streets calling for a second French Revolution, you know? So, I guess what I'm saying is, like, running through the security to have, like, your attempt to assassinate the president, like, it's suicidal in nature to a degree that, like, it seems to have caught people by surprise. You know, you can see in the video, like, agents roll out of the way and immediately draw their guns, but, like, it they were able to stop him before he was able to shoot the president, so there should have been many security checkpoints, and with my experience working for a federal agency, including direct experience with Secret Service during Obama's presidency, none of it adds up. I don't want to say it's definitely staged, but there's so many problems. My whole thing is that, like, Donald Trump's security has always been a fucking joke. You know? Like, the fact that he has like, he frequently operates out of Mar-a-Lago, a club that just about anyone can get into, even if you aren't a member, you can, like, stroll in off the fucking beach. Like, his security has always been a fucking joke. And I think that this is just showing that his security is a joke. Right? Like, I don't think this is an aberration. I think this is just an indication that, like many other things, Donald Trump has also degraded the capabilities of even the Secret Service and general security concerns. I feel like when you surround yourself with a bunch of yes men, you're kind of setting yourself up for situations exactly like this. Yeah, but in Butler, yeah, he went cheap. Exactly. I wonder if he wants to die a hero. I mean, the shooter definitely wanted to. Like, that's the impression you get from his manifesto, certainly. But, like, what is not impressive? What is unique about this entire incident to me is that all of this happened, like, a couple days ago. And the impact subsequent to that is non-existent. It's like this hasn't, it's like this never happened, you know? Like, the impact socially and politically on this particular, from this particular event has been almost non-existent. Like, someone tried to kill the president of the United States, shots were fired, the entire event had to be shut down, like, Trump had to be evacuated, like, the entire chain of command was present in one room with terrible security, and no one's talking about it. Not really. Like, even, I gotta be honest, even like the conspiracy theorizing around it is kind of bored. And I think it's kind of born out of boredom that we are looking for more sense to this than the Trump administration is ass at everything. Why would they not be ass at security too? You know? Like, the entire thing to me, from my perspective and my take on this, is that it's just incompetence. It is just the endemic incompetence of this administration that has percolated through every aspect of it. Okay?
Got a tip from a guy in an I support ICE hat. Sending to my favorite Minnesotan. Seems
Thank
appropriate.
you. Thank you very much, Professor Food, for the $5 super chat. Thank you for passing it along. So I guess this is where I'm at, because everything after this event has not really been focused on the assassination attempt or any of the underlying reasons for it. Let's take a little bit of a look here. You know, here is you know, Todd Blanche on Face the Nation expressing zero desire to do anything to prevent future assassination attempts against the president.
So the alleged shooter, as we just said, had multiple weapons in his possession. Here in the District of Columbia, open carry is not permitted. You just said he traveled from California across the country by train. At this point, are you thinking at the federal level of changing security protocols in any way to, for example, match on trains what you are expected to go through when you fly, where you do have to declare a weapon when you cross state lines? How did he travel by train without any challenge and arrive here in the nation's capital?
And look, this isn't about, in my mind, changing the law or making the laws more restrictive around possession of firearms. It appears he purchased these firearms the past couple years. We don't know how those firearms ended up in his possession in D.C. We can make some assumptions based upon what I just said about how he got to D.C. But I don't think the narrative here is about changing laws or making our laws more restrictive. This is about law enforcement who are doing their jobs and a suspect who tried to do something and failed miserably.
Yeah. Well, I'm not talking about changing the law in terms of possession of a firearm. I'm asking about crossing state lines with that firearm and arriving in the Capitol. If you try to fly, you do have to have your firearms declared in some way. You don't when you get on a train.
Well, look, you are talking about, I mean, if we're asking the question, that's talking about changing the laws, and I don't think that's something that we should be focused on right now in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, not a loophole.
There are lots of ways that. Yeah, so I mean, look, we also don't know. We don't have all the answers this morning. We're still looking into what happened, how he got the guns, if he got them legally. But what we do know is that he tried to use them. He did have 2 firearms and some knives on his person when he tried to use them, and he was stopped before he got anywhere near the president, before he got near any of us that were in the room at the time of that this occurred. And that's again, we can't overlook, and I'm not suggesting you are, but we can't overlook the great work of the Secret Service last night.
No.
She's asking him a pretty straightforward question, which is the transportation of guns across state lines. And, like, he's not willing to engage in that conversation at all. You know? Like, oh, should we have done anything to prevent this? I don't know. I think everyone did their jobs great. Like, what? There are so many systematic failures that have to happen for that assassination attempt to even happen. This guy is in charge of the Department of Justice. In your opinion, beyond his and his administration's grift, what's in store for us, the people, like us 99.99%? A microscopic batch of morons have turned our whole nation into a circus. Are we cool with fellow normal thinkers globally, or are we now being called out and shut down for not revolting? Or now what? I'm unsure what you mean by that. I'm what is going to be required of us is to organize, which is why I keep telling folks, you got to start turning up to your local political organizations. Turn up to your local Democrats, make them more progressive. Turn up to your local DSA, make them more effective. If you need help getting started doing that, this community can help. Join our Discord, !point Discord in any of the chats. We'll get you a link. Join that, and we'll help get you started. We'll help you figure out how to get started with your local Dems and your local DSA. Okay? Super important to organize because, as you pointed out, we are the 99.99%. There are way more of us than there are of them, and we need to organize to set things right. We cannot sit back anymore knowing the correct things and simply not organize around those positions. Because when we stay separate, when we stay disorganized, that is when there is room for these people to take advantage of us. God, Todd Blanche looks fucking tired as hell, though. It's crazy. He's only 25 years old. Did you know that? That's not true. I have no idea how old Todd Blanche is. How old is he? Just out of curiosity. Let's see here. He is 51 years old. That's a rough 51, though. All right. Moving on. Moving right along. Let's see. What did Caroline Leavitt have to say about this assassination attempt?
Just from the rhetoric, you mentioned the First Lady and Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's comments were, Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. And he said this days before the shooting, but there does seem to be a normalization of rhetoric about assassinating.
That's not assassination rhetoric. Jimmy Kimmel talking about how the First Lady has the expectant glow of a widow. It's because people have been making jokes that she's waiting for Donald Trump to die for like the last 20 years. Like that's not talking about how he should be assassinated. To interpret it in this way is fucking nuts.
This particular president, how can this administration try to put an end to this?
Well, I think you heard it directly from the president on Saturday night, Aisha, that in his words, we need to recommit ourselves as a country to toning down the rhetoric and to unifying around what makes our country great. That's true of everyone who works in this White House.
This is a man, like I'm sorry, you're asking the man who just like a week or so ago threatened to wipe out an entire civilization. You're trying to say it's other people with who need to tone down rhetoric?
But as I said, it's also true of everyone who has a voice and a platform across this country, whether you're on television, a podcast host, people listen. And when you have mentally disturbed individuals across the country who are listening to this crazed rhetoric about the president day after day after day, it inspires them to do crazy things.
Why is Melania pretending she likes Trump? For his money.
And unfortunately, it's not just the media, it is the entire Democrat Party has made their pitch to voters across the country that Donald Trump poses an existential threat to democracy, that he is a fascist.
He led an insurrection against the United States of America. Yeah, he's a pretty big threat to democracy. He sent armed agents in masks into my city's streets and murdered my neighbors. Like, he's built concentration camps across the country, but no. The people who criticize him, the rhetoric is the problem. It's not, the things he says and does.
And that they compare him to Hitler. I mean, these are despicable statements that the American people have been consuming for years. And so many mentally perturbed individuals are led to believe these words are truth and then are inspired to act on it. I have a whole host of examples that we can share with you after. It is pages and pages of major Democrat Party.
Like, I'm sorry, you're saying that the guy who just an hour ago posted this at 3 o'clock in the morning needs to, other people need to turn down their rhetoric? He posted this along with the caption, Iran can't get their act together. They don't know how to sign a non-nuclear deal. They better get smart soon. What the yeah. No, guys. You all need to turn down the rhetoric. You don't get it. Everything is so stupid right now. It's so stupid right now.
Elected officials saying, such as Rep. Hakeem Jeffries just this month said, we are in an era of maximum warfare everywhere all the time. Governor Josh Shapiro said heads need to roll within the administration. Senator...
I'm sorry. I want any kind of follow-up question to be like, did you think that he meant literal heads need to roll? Like, do you think Josh Shapiro thinks that, actual members of the actual Trump administration should actually be beheaded? Like, the level of fucking hurt crybaby nonsense here is off the charts.
Alex Padilla said people are, quote, dying because of fear and terror caused by the Trump administration. Senator Elizabeth Warren, President Trump is making the country look like a, quote, fascist state. Senator Adam Schiff saying President Trump using a dictator playbook. Senator Ed Markey calling President Trump a dictator, saying that this administration's actions are authoritarianism on steroids.
Yeah, because any criticism of their leader is clearly a call to violence. Couldn't just be criticizing people in a democracy is literally why you have a First Amendment right.
It's Governor J.B. Pritzker. Never before in my life have I called for mass protest disruptions. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. You have Rep. Presley saying, we'll see you in the streets. Rep. Monica McIver, a Democrat.
Yeah, we'll see you in the streets because you're going out to non-violently protest. Just want to throw out there, here's a collection of headlines that has been going around, okay? I want you all to realize how full of shit this finger pointing at the left is when these are actual headlines that exist. Trump floats the idea of executing Joint Chiefs Chairman Milley. Trump and GOP Representative Gosar suggest Joint Chief boss Mark Milley deserves death. Trump suggests Liz Cheney should be shot. Trump blasts prosecutor he appointed for not giving Hunter Biden a death sentence. Trump posts video of truck showing hogtied Joe Biden. Not to mention, of course, again, this is the guy who threatened to wipe out an entire civilization not a week or two ago. But no, it's of course all the violent rhetoric of the left. Couldn't possibly be that guy who came onto the political scene pointing at people at his rallies, telling them to get the hell out, and talking about how people should beat them up. God, it's all so stupid. Anyway, let's hear what Kash Patel has to say about this.
President Trump has assembled the greatest law enforcement team in the history of America, as evidenced by the monumental reduction in crime. And I have full confidence that they will continue to deliver for him. President Trump has assembled the...
So good. So good. Man knows that his only hope of keeping his job is just absolutely licking Donald Trump's boots. Nonstop. Nonstop. My God. And of course, we have the final pivot to what all of this seems to be about. The only lasting bit of any kind of lasting impact from this particular assassination attempt. The goddamn ballroom.
On the opposite, they've incited violence, in my view. I mean, you have some of the most prominent figures in the House and the Senate on the Democrat side effectively, calling for war. I mean, they use those kinds of metaphors, and it incites violence because there are crazy people in society, and they get radicalized online. And so we've got to recognize that it's time to turn down the rhetoric. We've been saying this over and over, and not use that kind of language. I hope that this will be a sobering reminder for everybody about that very important cause. I'm grateful to Fetterman. He's right. The ballroom will be a solution for this, because it'll be on the most secure compound in the world. It won't have hotel rooms above it, and it'll have 7-inch thick glass, for example, on the windows. So it'll be a very safe environment to do events like this. We need a place. We have needed a place like that, and the president keeps pointing it out. On the
just want to point out the White House Correspondents Association is not, in fact, under the control of the White House. It's a press event. They are under no obligation to hold events in the White House ballroom. Just as an FYI. The coordination on this messaging has been crazy. I mean, the coordination is just that the White House gives marching orders to Congress, and then they say, how far are we marching, boss? And the White House then gives marching orders to the influencers, and they all go out in unison to talk about how great a ballroom would be. Like, it's very clear that the Trump White House is keeping a tight grip on what influencers and members of Congress are allowed to say. And that order has gone all the way down. But, Mike Johnson in particular is out here trying to restore some semblance of seriousness to the Republicans as they all clamor for why Donald Trump needs a new ballroom.
They have full-on Trump derangement syndrome, okay? And it informs how they see the world and how they react, and how irresponsible they are now is on full display for the whole country. I hope voters remember this in the fall. You got to keep the grown-ups in charge, and that's the Republicans.
Yeah, the real grown-ups need a ballroom, okay? Just a gigantic ball pit, if you will. It has to have secret facilities underneath it, of course. So you're required to make the ballroom a ball pit. And that's really what the hallmark of adulthood, It's so stupid. This might be a little disrespectful. I have a very hard time taking this seriously when that man started the dumbest war in American history that will be responsible for millions starving. Yep. That is exactly what is happening. And you aren't alone, and we're gonna get to kind of my ultimate point with all of this, but we got a little bit longer until we get to that ultimate point, so bear with me here, okay? Because a lot of interesting things have come to light as a result of what happened here. Donald Trump gave an interview to 60 Minutes, and that interview, the original interview, is about 13 minutes long, and there's about a minute and a half I'd like to zoom in on here. And then we'll look at the full 40-minute interview that got cut down to 13 minutes. Let's take a listen here to this minute and a half.
The so-called manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this, quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this, I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you
pedophile.
think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself,
the other side of the plate? What the fuck? Are you a dude or something? Thank you, Waldo, for the tip. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Grippy Foreskin. And no, not a dude. Just a lady with a tired voice.
you know, I'll do this interview and they'll probably, I read the manifesto, you know, he's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and
these
I was
are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead, let's finish the interview.
The moment here where she is like,
Atrioc, finance bro, made a pretty good observation in that political violence is becoming more common due to unmet expectations, especially educated people seeing their job and life opportunities dry.
well, I mean, yes, that is part of what's going on here. Political violence doesn't happen in a society where things are going well. Generally speaking. Now, what's interesting about this interview exchange is, number one, he does assume that the shooter is talking about him when Donald Trump isn't named in that manifesto. The shooter just talks about, you know, people, you know, he doesn't want a rapist, pedophile, traitor's blood on his hands anymore. And like, Donald Trump just immediately, without any kind of observation by the interviewer here, reads into it as, oh, that's me. Like, Donald Trump read rapist, pedophile, traitor and thought, that me for real. You know?
This is what happens when you only are awake long enough to watch the third quarter of the Beauty and the Beast remake and haven't seen the original.
Oh, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. But, like, he's admitting here that he sees himself in that shooter's note as being, like, a rapist, pedophile, traitor. That's interesting to me. I think that's odd. I think it's revealing. And, like, to be frank, we all immediately clocked. Well, of course we all did, but he did too, which is the interesting part. That's the revealing part. It's a mask off moment, right? Like, also, someone compiled a transcription over at Decoding Fox News. I'm going to link this in chat for you all to take a look at. I highly recommend you read through the entire thing. But basically, it's comparison between the 13 minutes of what 60 Minutes actually aired from this interview and the 40 or the full 40-minute long interview that they put behind a paywall, and what was cut out of the 13 minutes that everyone got to see. Right? And so it's a really interesting read. Highly recommend. But you see what's broadcast and what's not included, right? And like, God, it's so interesting to see how insane he is in what they cut out, because Barry Weiss and company are very clearly trying to put him in the best light possible, but he's just fucking crazy. Okay? Here's O'Donnell. I want to get to all of those details and also walk through this. What happened last night? But first, this appears to be the third attempted assassination on your life. The first in Butler, the second, of course, on the golf course in Florida. Why do you think so many people are maybe trying to kill you? Trump. So I've said it numerous times, and I actually, because of the position I'm in, I've done quite a bit of research into the word assassination. Terrible word. And they go after consequential presidents. They go after presidents that do things. If you look at what I've done, we've turned this country around. We've taken a country that was actually a dead country. It was dying very rapidly. And it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've had a skirmish, a war, whatever you want to call it, with Venezuela. We won that very decisively. And we now have a great relationship with Venezuela. It's been a very profitable relationship. We're in Iran right now. Other presidents should have done it, but they never chose to do it. They should have. They made a terrible mistake by not doing it. It's tougher now than it would have been 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, because, thousands and thousands of missiles and everything else. We didn't do the B-2 bomber attack. That alone was a big deal. The killing of Soleimani, which I did in my first term, was a big deal. But when you're a consequential, when you do things, a lot of things, and things that work out very well for your country. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. McKinley was assassinated. McKinley made the country very rich. People don't realize it. Then Teddy Roosevelt went out and spent the money that was made by McKinley, but it was very consequential, actually. But he was assassinated. So, like, that's fucking nonsense. This is... The question was, why are so many people trying to kill you? And he just proceeded to fucking word vomit nonstop until she interrupts him to say, you mentioned, Mr. President, consequential, and your policies are also controversial. Is that part of it? He's like, well, no, I don't really think so. And goes on and on. It is wild to me what actually gets cut out here, let me pull this up. Here is the transcription of that scene I showed you, right? I was never again, excuse me, you shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead, let's finish the interview. O'Donnell, the other thing that he wrote, Trump, you're disgraceful. O'Donnell, the other thing in the manifesto that I think is worth looking at in terms of determining his motive is that he was staying at the hotel since Friday. He checked in and he said he had cased the place, and he wrote, what the hell is the Secret Service doing? And he wrote this quote, I expected security cameras at every been bugged, hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got is nothing. He wrote, this level of incompetence is insane. Sir, you've already had 2 attempted Trump. Well, he was pretty incompetent too, because he got caught, and he got caught pretty easily. So I'd say he was pretty incompetent too. I can take any event having to do with security or anything else. I can always find fault. Not included, Trump. No matter what, I can take a baseball team that won the game 18-0 and say they should have played better. What are you talking about? He's talking about himself being like a baseball team manager. He's never managed a baseball team. I do encourage you guys to read this entire thing. the cognition decline is real. It's genuinely shocking. He's just old man rambling. God, if you put a mannequin in front of him and like took away his contacts, he'd talk at that thing for nonstop and then sexually assault it, you know? Like that's where we're at with his mental state. Now, very clearly, after all of this went down, as people noted before, like the word from on high came down that you all have to be, as a result of this assassination attempt, pushing the ballroom. And I say the word has clearly come down because not only is Mike Johnson constantly talking about the ballroom now, I shit you not, Republicans threw an entire press conference dedicated to why Donald Trump needs a ballroom.
Let me tie one electrical cord to the question to what we're talking about today. Why are we here? The Democrats have used rhetoric referring to ICE agents as the Gestapo, Trump's secret police. They can't help themselves. Like, this is a real sickness. And what we're saying is this has to be addressed. At a minimum, we have to have a safe place to protect.
Okay, so because Democrats are actively comparing the Gestapo, a force that would come into communities and disappear people to put them in concentration camps, something that ICE agents are currently doing, as they are also executing people in the street, all while wearing masks, by the way. But because people have said ICE agents are like the Gestapo and made that comparison, we need a ballroom for Donald Trump. That doesn't make sense.
The President of the United States and the cabinet officials if they want to gather, or there's a state dinner, or a crowd more than like 100 people. But this is now, in order to appease the more radicalized base, the language that comes out on the Senate floor, I'm not talking about on like Morning Joe, like on the Senate floor, you guys are there, you hear this. This is well beyond what has been acceptable forever, and we're at where we're at.
And again, the guy that they're talking about, the head of their party, threatened to wipe out an entire civilization. Like, the president of the United States is gleefully posting like every day about bombing schools and power plants and bridges. Fucking war crimes.
And y'all remember, this stuff was operating. I mean, ICE and CBP are operating. And the fact that Democrats didn't sit down until 48 days into the shutdown means that they could care nothing about the guardrails. To Senator Schmidt's point, it was everything about the
ICE and CBP aren't forces that would ever stop someone from doing that attempt.
Political issue. They didn't want to take a vote for ICE. I mean, it's insane where we are, and it's got to stop.
Senator Graham, as budget chairman, there are some House members who, after this event happened, suggested adding the ballroom to the reconciliation package, but that might potentially cause problems over here.
I would like to take it to the floor and see if we can. Again, it's supposed to be built in 28. It's actually going to benefit future presidents more than President Trump. So
you can't get it done if the Democrats don't come forward the next day or so, and they still sound like they're blocking it.
Well, I don't know. I'd like to.
Are you open to adding it to reconciliation?
I want to get it done. Yeah, I want to get it done yesterday, and I'd like to do it as a freestanding bill with an offset. Let's give it a chance, and if we fail, we'll have to go to Plan B. Yeah.
Let me tie one.
Our special boy, he needs his ballroom. You don't understand. You don't understand. He needs his ballroom. He needs his ballroom so bad that Donald Trump seemingly personally authored the motion filed in federal court to try and get the ballroom rolling. I'm just going to read it verbatim to you guys here. Defendants Rule 62.1 motion for an indicative ruling dissolving the court's injunction in the National Trust for Historic Preservation versus the National Park Service. The National Trust for Historic Preservation is a beautiful name, but even their name is fake because they add the words "in the United States" to the National Trust for Historic Preservation. I had to say fake because it's in all caps. Because it makes it sound like a governmental agency, which it is not. In fact, the United States refused to continue funding it in 2005 because they strongly disagreed with their mission and objectives. They are very bad for our country being capitalized. They stop many projects that are worthy and hurt many others. In this case, they are trying to stop one that is vital to our national security and the safety of all presidents. The words are randomly capitalized. Like, this is Donald Trump definitely personally wrote this. Okay? The safety of all presidents of the United States, both current and future, their families, staff, and cabinet members. They were asked by the United States military not to bring this suit because of the top secret nature of the important facility being built. They were shown detailed plans and specifications of this knitted, unified, and cohesive structure by top officers and leaders about the military and Secret Service. But this did not deter them because they suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, commonly referred to as TDS, as noted by Democrat Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. They are represented by the lawyer for Barack Hussein Obama, Gregory Craig. The lower section of this building does not work without the upper section, and likewise, the upper section of the building does not work without the lower. Like, they are designed to operate as one integrated unit. As an example, one venting system, one electrical system, one plumbing system, one security system, one air conditioning and heating system, one elevator connector, and very importantly, one structural steel and enforced concrete system, and more. Even the bulletproof windows and glass and the heavy steel, drone-proof roof protect what is below. With such a facility, it would have been impossible for an attack like that which took place last Saturday evening in D.C., when an attempted assassin armed with a shotgun, pistol, and knives charged through a security checkpoint at the Washington Hilton in an attempt to assassinate President Donald J. Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, and members of the president's cabinet and senior staff during the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The Secret Service fortunately neutralized the assassin before he could reach the ballroom. However, the ballroom. However, Saturday's narrow miss, which marks the third assassination attempt on President Trump since 2024, confirms what should have been already obvious. Presidents need a secure space for large events that currently does not exist in Washington, D.C., and this court's injunction stalling this president cannot defensively continue for the sake of the safety of President Trump, future presidents and their families, cabinets, and staff. Defendants thus request that the court issue an indicative blah, 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 blah. Okay. It's all so fucking stupid, guys. It's all so stupid. But you know what? Republicans are running with it anyway. When has it ever stopped them before?
On this idea of $400 million being appropriated to build this ballroom for the purposes of national security, and this idea that by the time it's built, President Trump might be able to use it once or twice, but then future presidents for decades to come will have the advantage of using it.
Yeah, the next time that we have a Democrat president and Democrats who are going to receptions and parties at the White House, they're going to love the big, beautiful ballroom that Donald Trump built for them and for the country. I mean, it's something that I think we can all look forward to and celebrate. I mean, there are other bills as well in the Senate that just move the permitting process along and get this moving forward. There are appropriations for public funding of it. I mean, it is a public building, and the White House is a treasure. So I don't know what that price tag or the dollar figure will be, but the ballroom.
The White House is such a treasure. They had to rip down part of it to build this ballroom. Typically what you want to do with the treasure is destroy it.
It's going to be something that all Americans can enjoy and appreciate, and Democrats or Republicans, those who enjoy it at the White House, are going to love it in the future. So a lot of good reasons.
Everyone's going to love it. You don't understand. People across America love the idea of Donald Trump having a new ballroom. Just like all Americans across the country think that little Timmy deserves a Nintendo Switch too. for getting a whole D- on his latest test.
It's very selfish of Trump wanting the ballroom all for himself.
Right? A ballroom for every home.
For it, President Trump is of all of the things that he's effective at and he does well. Building beautiful buildings is one of them, and a big beautiful ballroom is going to be great.
He doesn't build the fucking buildings. He doesn't build the buildings that he's not designing them. He's not building them. Like, fuck, get off his dick. It's embarrassing. This guy's a senator from Indiana. God. Now, why is all of this happening, right? Why has this event had so little impact? Well, I think a lot of it goes back to this article by Greg Sargent over on the New Republic. Greg posted this like about a week ago at this point. The incredible shrinking MAGA. How far can MAGA continue to get if it keeps purging itself down to its ever more molten core? Donald Trump appears to be bent on finding out. And like, the breakdown in this article that Greg puts forward is essentially that, like, Donald Trump is hemorrhaging support in a way that is difficult to put into words. And I'll link it here for you guys, right? Like, Donald Trump is very noteworthy, noteworthily losing support among non-college white voters. You know? Trump's overall approval among them is now slightly underwater at 49 to 51%. A majority of non-college white voters are now rejecting him. Do you have any idea what it takes to get to that point? Like, we are, I mean, we are, he's losing it. He's losing it. The one demographic in which he experiences a majority of support is among rural voters, and that's at 51% support him. That's it. That is his best demographic right now. And even that is slipping. Like, it's gonna fucking tank when they start seeing what fertilizer costs are gonna be. And like, I don't know, guys. All I'm trying to say is that at a certain point, his unpopularity becomes devastating. Like, anything that he can try to do is, at best, hemorrhaging support because he's the least popular guy ever to be president. And, like, we're in the middle of a national crisis in a war that he created. And, like, he's ranting and raving about a fucking ballroom. And not only that, he just went on television and had his I am not a crook moment about being a pedophile. Like, one of the most famous things Nixon ever said, I am not a crook. Donald Trump just recreated that moment with pedophile instead of crook. It's crazy. And all of this is overshadowing the fact that, like, people he's lost so much support among normal people, among everyday people, among hardcore conservative demographics that, like, people just don't care
Jack,
anymore.
I don't think you understand how important the presidential underground roller ball arena under the ballroom is to national security.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell people the importance of having a coliseum built deep underground, at least a mile underground. so that we can continue the blood sports when the apocalypse hits, but no one will listen to me. But, like, Donald Trump is sitting here completely out of touch with people, even completely out of touch with his most insane base.
Trump's name is already toxic. He is only propped up by media propaganda. He'd be dead in the water, metaphorically speaking, of course, 5 months ago, if not for the media.
I mean, true. True. Unironically. Like, Donald Trump is struggling. But why don't people care about this assassination attempt? It's also because he's poisoned the information ecosystem. Like, when you are when the constantly spewing out that's fake news, those are it's lies, and then he's simultaneously lying all the time, every other word. Like, it's not surprising that people are just like, oh, there's another assassination attempt that seemed really weird. Well, it's either fake or, he's lying about it again. Who can say? Like, people are just over his shit. People are over the lies. People are inventing, like, alternate realities where things are more interesting, and, like, essentially, I think what's happening is that, like, people are inventing this idea that it's like a false flag, in part because it's more interesting if it is. It's more interesting if there is a false flag that has happened, and also it's less scary because it means that there's a level of competence at play capable of carrying out a false flag, you know? And I think that there's a certain amount of comfort in that, as opposed to the reality, which is just that the people running our country right now are absolute moron dipshits. And, like, the more boring thing happened, which is just incompetent guy tried to do something. Incompetent guy tried to do a poorly conceived plan. It's a really weird variant of the boy who cried wolf anecdote. Exactly. Not to mention the fact that, like, a lot of older folks are living in, like, these AI misinformation bubbles. Like, it's the information ecosystem is dying. And, like, I do not think this administration is capable of actually pulling off any kind of successful false flag. I think the far more obvious and far more real thing that's going on here is that this guy's deeply unpopular, and even an assassination attempt can't get him to, like, bump up in the polls. Even an assassination attempt can't get people to really, like, believe anything he says anymore. Like, he's been lying nonstop about the Iran negotiations. And, like, that's very obvious. It's very obvious to anyone paying attention that he's manipulating markets to make money. And, like, that all comes with some, like, costs that are gonna come back to bite all of us. I don't know. That's true, Spleen. The conspiracy theory that, like, this was a false flag assassination attempt solely for the purpose of, like, getting his ballroom passed, that is funny enough to believe for the comedy. I will give you that. You're just an anti-ballroom bigot. True. All right, folks, get organized. Join your local Dems. Join your local DSA. We need to move this country to left, and the only way we do that is by organizing. We cannot sit back and wait for other people to do it for us. We actually have to get out there and do the work. So get organized. Use exclamation point Discord and any of the chats. You can join our Discord. We can help set you up with your local Dems and your local DSA. And also, folks, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words really help in the algorithm for whatever reason. Hit the subscribe button. And of course, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is non-tucking lingerie. It's sexy. It fits. It is great. Go check it out. ImogeneOlivia.com. There you go. He forgot the ear menstrual pad this time. That was key. That's true. That was key. You got to accessorize. Got to accessorize. The assassination attempt was staged? No. I would. When I said it would be very funny if it was, I was not saying it was. All right. Okay, I have one last segment for y'all. Also, folks, if you've been getting anything out of today's show, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please consider dropping those subs, donos, memberships, super chats, etc. Because I've been sick for a week, and I don't get nothing happens when I'm sick. I just don't make money, and it's a little scary. But all that being said, support the show however you can, and click the goddamn button. I didn't actually start my soundboard software, so I'm just clicking a button that won't do anything. Ooh. Here we go. Go. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click a button. Click a button. Click a button. Click the goddamn button. Click button. Click button. Click And folks, I can feel my voice starting to give out, so I am going to call it. I've already gone like an hour longer than I was intending. But I'm gonna rest my voice, so hopefully we can do a full-sized show tomorrow. But I hope you all enjoyed the show today because you guys are awesome and it's nice to be back. And I appreciate all of you for being here. Have a restful night. I will do my best. All right. You did good. Thanks. Also, you guys don't get to see me in like my athletic wear very often, but I look good. I've been looking good. Feel better? I will endeavor to do my best. Good night, y'all. Bye. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-bo.